Peugeot Traveller is an 8-seater van-based MPV that will appeal to taxi operators and large families. It's one of a select group of vehicles that can carry 8 people. Its principal rivals are the Ford Tourneo Custom, Volkswagen Caravelle and Mercedes-Benz V-Class. Like its rivals, it will accommodate the driver, plus 7 passengers, except that in terms of manufacturer list price and monthly repayments, the Peugeot is cheaper than its Ford and Volkswagen rivals. Peugeot also promises that its expert van-based MPV will cost less to run, thanks to its efficient Blue Eddy diesels. The most efficient Euro 6 1.6-litre models average 55.4 miles per gallon on official fuel test, and emit 133 grams/km of CO2. Active and aluminum levels, plus 3 engines. The model range is simple in terms of trim levels. You get the entry-level active version, or its plusher or sister. Even the starter Traveller is well equipped considering its van origins, so you get climate control, parking sensors and cruise control. There are 5 diesel engine options to choose from, ranging in power between 95 to 180 horsepower. The full lineup looks like this: 1.6-litre Blue Eddy 95 horsepower, 5-speed manual, 144 grams/km 1.6-litre Blue Eddy 95 horsepower S&S, X6 Auto, 135 grams/km 1.6-litre Blue Eddy 115 horsepower S&S, 6-speed manual, 133 grams/km, above 2.0-litre Blue Eddy 150 horsepower S&S, 6-speed manual, 139 grams/km 2.0-litre Blue Eddy 180 horsepower S&S, E6 Auto, 151 grams/km Peugeot Traveller 1.6-litre Blue HDI. Driving the smaller of the 2 diesel engines comes in 2 states of tune. Both push out competitive levels of torque, 210 Nm, but its 115 horsepower version is the one you'll need if you're doing lots of miles and regularly carrying passengers. Although the 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 13.4 seconds and 98 miles per hour maximum speed wouldn't appear to set the world alight, on the road, the Traveller is not lacking in performance. It accelerates smartly, and is refined throughout the rev range. Never does it feel stressed, even when climbing steep hills. You need change gear a lot to keep it flowing swiftly. But the 6-speed manual gearbox is light and reasonably slick in use, and you'll not find changing between gears a chore. Peugeot Traveller 2.0-litre Blue HDI. Driving just like its smaller sibling, the 2.0-litre comes with 2 power outputs, 150 and 180 horsepower. There's plenty of pulling power on offer, with 370 and 400 Nm, respectively, to play with, and unless you're living in the Alps and fully laden, neither will struggle. If you want an automatic with the larger engine, you will have to choose the 6-speed automatic version. In reality, few drivers will benefit from going for the 180 horsepower derivative. Like the 1.6-litre version, performance isn't a priority, but neither does it feel lacking. The claimed 0 to 62 miles per hour times for both the 150 horsepower and 180 horsepower versions are 11.0 seconds, while the maximum speed is also identical at 106 miles per hour. It doesn't drive that much like a van, let's be honest here. It's highly unlikely that handling will be high on the list of your priorities when considering buying a Traveller. But equally, drivers now demand all vehicles to be easy to drive, and capable of going around corners without being scary. And on that score, the Traveller passes muster. It is easy to drive, though, with great all-round visibility courtesy of that high-set driving position, slim pillars and acres of glass. The steering is light, albeit low-geared and lacking in feel, so you will have to twirl your arms a fair bit in tighter turns. But it's easy to place on the road, feels solid and secure, and despite being almost 5 meters in length it feels nice and maneuverable in tighter spaces. Even the turning circle is tight, although, at 4 turns from lock to lock, you'll find it a cumbersome process finding out. Inside the Traveller again, it's all about expectations. If you're expecting the Traveller to be more like a more car-based MPV, behind the wheel, then you're going to be disappointed. The driving position is very upright, and if you're in one of the cheaper models, your front seat passenger will be treated to the joys of a 2-seat bench. In short, it does little to hide its commercial vehicle origins. Search used Peugeot MPVs for sale, but having said that, it's a million miles away from vans of old. It might not be overburdened with soft touch plastics to speak of, but the dash design echoes those of other previous generation cars. The design looks cohesive, the dashboard easy to read, and the controls logically arranged if you're familiar with the PSA way of laying things out, the column-mounted cruise control being a good example. Creature comforts and generous equipment. The touchscreen infotainment system is an older system, but works reasonably well once you've worked your way around it. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto and MirrorLink are all there, and pretty much render the standard sat-nav you get in the more luxurious models obsolete. The Traveller is a people carrier, so it's unsurprising that it's been set up for comfort. The ride quality is excellent, and it's particularly good at ironing out irregularities on rougher roads. Engine and wind noise in both 1.6 and 2.0 litre forms are kept well in check, while road noise is minimal, even on larger 17-inch wheels. The verdict: the commercial vehicle origins of this MPV are undeniable, but really do work in the Traveller's favour. It's roomy and efficient. These aspects alone make the Traveller great at long distance, travelling. The front seats are large, but on the firm side, and although the seating position is on the upright side, it's perfectly comfortable on long runs, once you're acclimatized to it. Passengers in the mid and rear rows get less of a good ride. There's obviously ample headroom, but legroom is right, especially in the third row. But thanks to the imple glass area, it feels light and airy, and you'll never get complaints about feeling closed in. Quick acceleration and responsive performance. Hard driving seriously dents its cruising range. Single power option, so sporty types will be disappointed. We've only driven the car on Japanese roads so far, so we'll wait for a more definitive verdict. But even on a short drive on smooth roads, it made some strong first impressions. It's a big improvement over the outgoing Leaf in many ways, which is exactly what Nissan set out to do. Like the old Nissan Leaf, you simply slip it into drive with a dainty little transmission selector, and the super light steering makes urban driving a breeze. It's not an exciting car, and we didn't expect it to be. It's smooth, and refinement is impressive. The new e-pedal takes a little getting used to. Lift your foot sharply off the throttle, and the car comes to a correspondingly sharp halt. You soon learn to be gentle with the accelerator, and instinctively start controlling your braking with it. Only when another car pulled up unexpectedly in front of us did we need to use the brake pedal. That e-pedal has other benefits. It makes town driving easy, as you're using the single pedal the majority of the time. Head for the hills, and it will hold you on an incline without any driver input. But like all good driver assistance systems, if you don't like it, you can turn it off with a flick of a switch. What's the Nissan Leaf like to drive on the motorway? It goes very well indeed, with instant and smooth acceleration. This has always been a key appeal of EVs. On the motorway, with the optional ProPilot, adaptive cruise control, system engaged, it pretty much drives itself. The lane keep assist is excellent thanks to its responsive radar and smooth autonomous steering setup. On the Japanese market car we drove, it would remain effectively hands-free for a little more than 10 seconds. From rest the Leaf accelerates quickly, and it will get from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 8.5 seconds. Nissan won't quote an official time yet, but engineers say it's in the 8s. Unlike the last Leaf, which felt like it was being held back at high speed, this one accelerates smoothly to the UK motorway limit and beyond, and overtaking is easy. Grippy cornering, with a safe overall feel. Soft, comfortable ride means some body roll and corners. Super light steering lacks feel. We didn't get a chance to investigate too much into how it corners, but if it's anything like the last Leaf, it will be efficient and safe, but will lack feel and any real driver involvement. It could be argued that's not what this car is about, so we'd not mark it down in this respect. There is some body roll in corners, but not excessively so. The low center of gravity, and slightly stiffened suspension setup over the last Leaf mean that it corners happily at a decent speed, and it feels much more responsive than before thanks to the excellent e-pedal. It's interesting driving a car that needs just one pedal for more than 90% of the time. That affects the way you drive, and encourages you to have some fun. It also combines with your handbrake to hold the car on a hill without balancing the throttle, a very useful feature. Simple dashboard layout, easy to control. E-pedal is a joy to use once acclimatized. Interior quality and trim is very good. The new Leaf U has taken a couple of significant steps forward. It's much more conventional than before, sharing many features with the Micra. The quality has also been lifted, not that this was an area that the old car was lacking in. The driving position is good and the visibility is excellent, as is the seating position. Only the bulky A-pillar spoils the view out, but blind spot monitoring and 360-degree cameras take most of the stress out of that. There's plenty of head and legroom up front, and the steering wheel fully adjusts for reach and rake. The instruments and controls are far more conventional than before, and easy to familiarize yourself with. There's a simple-to-read digital instrument display and a 7.0-inch infotainment screen, but this is a bit of a letdown compared with the class-leading setup you'll find in Volkswagen Group products. The new semi-autonomous ProPilot setup, on the other hand, is brilliantly simple to use, and very effective. It's driven using a set of steering wheel controls, all of which are big and clearly marked. The other controls are also nice and simple. Buttons for the heating and ventilation system make a change from the increasingly difficult to master menu-driven systems of some rivals. Super comfortable ride quality, great refinement and lack of noise, one of the most relaxing driving experiences. This is a car that's designed to be as relaxing and comfortable to drive as possible. If you value a car that rides well, and is quiet and refined, then the Leaf will hold a lot of appeal for you. It's light and undemanding to drive, and the main worry you'll encounter is that of how much juice is left in the battery, which should be lessened thanks to its longer range. As well as having a comfortable ride, the driver's seat is supportive and well-shaped for long journeys. Overall, the combination on a quiet cabin and soft ride make this a great car for spending time in. This is an unusual set of qualities to find in a medium-sized family car. Nissan say that the ride and handling will be made a little stiffer for the UK, but we hope that they don't ruin what is a genuinely luxurious feeling car in the process. Top-of-the-range Techno will get all the new tech as standard. Mid-range models get smaller wheels for an even better ride. Some very impressive audio packages are available in Japan. The UK equipment and trim packages have yet to be announced. We do know that Nissan will be selling it in Ascenta, Connector and Techno forms, with the entry-level Vizia being phased out. All cars will come with the 7.0-inch infotainment system as standard, and that offers full Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility, negating the need to use the built-in sat-nav setup. All models will come with the e-pedal setup as standard, but it's likely that the impressive ProPilot system and ProParking setups will only be standard on the Techno and optional on the rest of the range. Expect that to be the case with additional kits, such as active LED headlamps and the impressive Bose sound system, with boot-mounted subwoofer. Charging from empty takes 8 hours with a household socket, but you can opt for a quick charge which will see the battery regenerated to 80% in only 30 minutes. Nissan expects the quick charge network to expand rapidly in the UK, and will also offer an optional induction charging system in the future. Expected 5-star Euro NCAP crash test score. Autonomous emergency braking as standard. Crash avoidance tech and parking tech is cutting edge. Nissan Leaf safety levels are high, and the new car should follow in the footsteps of the old one by obtaining a 5-star Euro NCAP score. The Leaf is fitted with ABS and electronic brake distribution, autonomous emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, and collision avoidance technology. As with the old Leaf, Nissan has ensured that there are plenty of safety systems around its charging technology. When not charging, but plugged in, an electric relay within the vehicle turns off the power to isolate the charging port. Although the charging port is waterproof and has a drainage structure for use in the rain, in case of a short circuit, the supply of electricity is immediately interrupted. The batteries are well protected, and are encased to prevent short circuits in the event of an accident. How many Isofix points does a Nissan Leaf have? There are 2 pairs of Isofix points on the rear seat. Interior room matches most mainstream family hatchbacks. Boot space is impressive compared with FF rivals. Interior feels airy and is pleasant to spend time in. The Nissan Leaf is a fairly classically sized medium hatchback in the mold of a Volkswagen Golf or Ford Focus, and its accommodation largely mirrors these cars. There's plenty of headroom, and an airy interior makes the most of this. There's room for 5 adults, though the middle rear passenger gets the worst deal. The boot is very impressive, with 435 litres of space with the rear seats in place. Nissan hasn't quoted a figure with the rear seats folded yet, but we can say that it's a big, well-shaped boot only let down by the stepped floor when you fold down the rear seat. It now has a maximum range on a single charge of 248 miles, however, that figure will drop significantly if it is not driven sympathetically. The range is also weather dependent.